Hi hamster lovers, and today I'm going to be reviewing some of the products in the hamster section of the pet store. So first, let's look at the food. Hamsters need about 17 to 19% protein, 4 to 7% fat, and 6 to 15% fibre in their diet. It should also have high variety with less pellets and more seeds and grains. It's also important that there aren't many fatty foods in it. You might need to mix several mixes together to get the right balance of what your hamster needs. You will need to calculate it though, and there are hamster food mix calculators online that can help with this. This is the Science Selective Complete Hamster Food. It is pellets, so it will have a bit of a lack of variety. It says it's 17% protein, which is good. It says it's 3% fat, which isn't quite enough. And then 8% fibre, which is good. Overall, I wouldn't recommend it because it doesn't have much variety and there isn't enough fat. So before getting any mixes for your hamster, you can use this method to make sure it's a good balance of macronutrients. I'll give another example on how to do this. So this is the Harry Hamster Tasty Mix. It is 18% protein, which is good, 6% fibre, which is a bit on the low side but okay, and 6% fat, which is good. However, it does contain artificial dyes and doesn't have the best variety. There are also quite a few fatty foods in it. There are also quite a few fatty foods in this one, such as the sunflower seeds and the corn, and there's not enough protein. This one looks like it has a lot of variety. It doesn't have enough fibre though. Now let's look at the hamster wheels. The green wheel on the right is a 6.5-inch silent spinner wheel. It's recommended that dwarf hamsters have at least an 8-inch wheel, and Syrians at least a 10 to 12-inch wheel or larger, as long as they can still push it. Just make sure their back isn't bent, like in the picture. The red and yellow wheel are too small too. Now this is the silent spinner wheel, which I wouldn't recommend for dwarf hamsters because they can run so fast that they fly off and get hurt. It's also 18.5 centimeters or around 7 inches, which is too small and will cause back problems. You will need to make sure that your hamster carrier is appropriate for the size of your hamster and the length of the journey that you're going to be going on. If you're just going on a short trip to the vet, then this is an okay hamster carrier, but if you're going on a longer journey, then this is going to be too small. Small pet litter training poles are okay for hamsters. To use this, all you do is just get a little box with a hole in it like this. Put some sand in the bottom and scatter some of these pearls over the top. If you're toilet training them and they go to the toilet somewhere else in the cage instead of in the litter box, then you'll either need to clean it so it's scent-free or transfer it into the litter box. This will help your hamster learn that this is their new toilet. Now this is quite a controversial brand of hamster bathing sand. It's the Tiny Friends Farm bathing sand. It's said to be quite dusty. I wouldn't recommend it because there are better options. The majority of products here are not safe for your hamster. You should not use small animal shampoo on your hamster, as hamsters must never be bathed in water, as it can make them sick. Hamsters bathe themselves in sand. Your hamster will also not need those vitamin drops, because they should be getting all of the nutrients they need from their diet. Also, if your hamster has parasites, it's critical to take them to a vet and not try treating them at home with these parasite sprays. These ceramic food dishes are excellent for hamsters. I would probably use these to put fresh food on, like vegetables and fruit. If you scatter feed the food around the enclosure, however, it will keep your hamster busy having to look for it. These are good water bottles. I prefer the glass ones though, as they don't shed plastic. These bendable bridges are excellent for hamsters, and the hay tunnels are good for them to hide in. There are quite a few small animal harnesses for hamsters in pet stores. It's very important that you never use leashes on your hamster, as these can damage their spine. Hamsters are very delicate creatures and they can't support being walked. You also really don't need those mineral chews or the really salty chews. Hamsters should be getting all of the nutrients and minerals that they need from their diet. They can also dehydrate your pet. There are also some really sugary treats in the pet store, like yogurt drops. These aren't good for them as they're high in sugar and should only be given about once a week as a very special treat. Herbs are excellent for hamsters, just make sure all of them are safe. They're excellent to scatter around the enclosure and they're very healthy. Never use scented bedding, pine or cedar bedding, for your hamster as these can damage their respiratory systems. I would be cautious about any beddings that don't specify what sort of wood they're made out of. Cloth bedding and paper bedding are excellent nesting materials for your pet. However, cotton fluff nesting, even though it says it's safe, is not safe. They're usually made from fibres that can wrap around their legs and cut off the circulation to them. This could result in them losing their limb. It can also be swallowed and it's not digestible, so it can cause intestinal blockages. There are quite a few products in the reptile section that are excellent for hamsters. For example, cork logs and wooden bridges. Grapevine wood is also excellent, as well as bamboo roots. The reptile bowls are also excellent for hamster water bowls, as they are shallow. They also go with the aesthetic of natural enclosures. Calcium and dust-free reptile sand is excellent to use as bathing sand. Sphagnum moss is also one of the nicest and safest mosses to use for hamsters, and it's a natural texture. Now let's look at the hamster enclosures. The majority of these are far too small for hamsters and don't allow for a good bedding depth. You can check out my video all about hamster cages in the iCards above. In that video you can learn which cages are suitable for hamsters. These are sadly guinea pig cages, but they're so small you probably wouldn't be able to put a hamster in them. The bar spacing is also far too wide for a hamster. This was the only decently sized hamster cage. If you are going to use this, however, you will need to remove the wheel as it's too small. Now back to the bedding. Hemp bedding is safe for hamsters as well as the aspen bedding. Orchard grass hay and Timothy hay are good to add into your hamster's bedding as it makes it more sturdy for them to burrow in. Just make sure it's dust-free and fresh. In the dog section, you'll be able to find some Whimsy dog chews, which are also excellent for hamsters. Lots of hamsters enjoy chewing on these, and they help keep your hamster's teeth trim. You should only let your hamster have it for a limited amount of time, because some go a bit overboard with chewing it. That's the end of this week's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe. Bye!